Hello everyone. Well, hope you're having a good Thursday so far. I know I am because the Seahawks won today. Yay! Anyway, so today we're going to be continuing our look at Game of Thrones Season 1 with the episode A Golden Crown. So, here we go. Starting off at the north, Bran Stark is awakened from one of his recurring dreams of a three-eyed crow with a pleasant surprise that the specially designed saddle that will allow him to ride has been finished. Yay! He goes to test it in the forest under the supervision of his brother Robb and Theon Greyjoy. While Theon is trying to convince Robb to avenge his father for the Lannisters' attack, a small group of wildlings, humans who live north of the Wall, outside of civilized lands, who have ventured south, capture Bran. Robb and Theon manage to kill all the men and capture the woman Osha. Despite Theon's help, Robb chastises him for endangering Bran's life when Theon shot an arrow at the wildling who was holding Bran. Curse you, Theon. Meanwhile, in the Eyrie, Tyrion Lannister is able to trick Lysa Arryn into summoning a court to listen to his confession, at which he confesses various misdemeanors committed during his life, but nothing about the attempt on Bran's life or Lysa's husband's death. After, Tyrion publicly demands a trial by combat, and the mercenary Bronn volunteers to fight for him. Lysa Arryn has no choice but to allow it. Bronn defeats Lysa's champion Servardus Egan by tiring the heavily armored knight and kicking him out the moon door, and Tyrion is allowed to walk free with Bronn as his escort, much to the dismay of the Tully sisters. Wah, wah, wah. Meanwhile, in King's Landing, Eddard Stark awakens in his chambers with Robert Baratheon and Cersei Lannister watching him. Cersei accuses Eddard of kidnapping her brother Tyrion, and claims Eddard was drunk and attacked Jaime first, but she's silenced by a slap from Robert. Oof. After she leaves, Robert tells Eddard that he cannot rule the kingdoms if the Lannisters and Starks are at war, and insists that Eddard remain the hand of the king, or else Robert will give the position to Jaime. Oof. Robert also informs Eddard that he will be regent while Robert is away on a hunting trip. Yeah, I bet that's gonna go great for you there, Robbie. Meanwhile, Arya Stark deals with her father's injury and her loss of joy during her sword dance lessons. Sierra Farrell tells her it's a perfect opportunity for her to learn to avoid distraction while fighting. In the Stark's common room, Sansa Stark and Septa Mordane are interrupted by Prince Joffrey Baratheon, who apologizes to Sansa for his early behavior and gives her a necklace, vowing that she will be his queen in an elaborate wedding ceremony. Oh, it almost forgives the fact that he's such a total prick. Sansa happily accepts the apology, unaware that Joffrey's being forced into it by his mother. Oh, that's Cersei always being manipulative. I hate her. Acting as regent, Eddard learns that Sir Gregor the Mountain Clegane was spotted leading brigands and attacking villages in the Riverlands. Uh-oh. Realizing this is revenge for Tyrion's arrest, Eddard orders Lord Beric Dondarrion to secure Gregor's arrest, strips him of his lands and titles, and summons his lord Tywin Lannister to answer for Gregor's actions. Fearing war with the Lannisters and for his daughter's lives, he orders Arya and Sansa to return to Winterfell for their safety. Sansa protests and mentions her desire to have the blonde-haired Joffrey's children. Eddard realizes something and rereads the book of lineages of the Baratheon family. Doing so, he puts the pieces together. Joffrey does not have black hair like his father's ancestors, and Robert's bastards whom he and Jon Arryn had been researching. Eddard concludes that Joffrey is not Robert's real son. Well, duh. Finally, in Vasto Thrak, Daenerys Targaryen takes one of the dragon eggs and places it in a hot glowing brazier. She reaches in and picks up the blisteringly hot egg. Her handmaiden rushes in to take the hot egg from her hands, burning herself in the process, but Daenerys' hands are completely unscathed. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Daenerys begins a ritual with Dosh Colleen by eating the raw heart of a stallion. Ooh, that must taste so good. After some struggle, she completes the task and stands up to proclaim her unborn son as a cow who will unite the world as one Khalasar, and she names him Rhaego. Viserys Targaryen grows angry at his sister's increasing popularity among the Dothraki, but Jorah Mormont urges patience. Viserys ignores him and sneaks away to Daenerys' tent to steal the dragon eggs to fund a new army. However, Jorah confronts him, forcing Viserys to leave the eggs behind. Viserys storms off after a tense exchange of words between the two men. Yeah, I really don't like Viserys, can you tell? Later, at a feast for Daenerys and Khal Drogo, a drunken Viserys draws his sword on his sister, threatening that if the Khal does not give him an army to take back the Seven Kingdoms, he'll take back Daenerys and cut out her child. Bad idea there. Khal Drogo agrees to give him the golden crown that he wants, and Viserys lets his guard down, allowing Drogo's blood riders to restrain him. Drogo melts his belt in a stew pot, and Viserys realizes to his horror that the golden crown is actually molten gold, which Drogo pours on his head. Daenerys watches her brother's painful death calmly, and coolly observes, "He was no dragon. Fire cannot kill a dragon." And again, well, duh. Anyway, let's look at some production notes of this episode. The teleplay for A Golden Crown was written by Jane Espenson, David Benioff, and D.B. Weiss, from a story by Benioff and Weiss, based on Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin. The episode includes the book's chapters 38 to 41, 44 to 45, and 47, Bran 5, Tyrion 5, Eddard 10, Catelyn 7, Eddard 11, Sansa 3, and Daenerys 5. Chapter 42, or Jon 5, dealing with Jon convincing Maester Aemon to allow Samwell to join the Watch as a steward, was removed from the series, although some of Sir Alistair's dialogue from the chapter was used, and Chapter 43, or Tyrion 6, was moved to Episode 8. The episode introduces the recurring character of the wildling Osha. The writer of the original books, George R. R. Martin, admitted that this casting was different from his version of the character. As he explains, he was surprised to see actress Natalia Tena was being considered for the role since Osha had been conceived as a hard-bitten older woman, and the actress was quote, too young and too hot. However, unquote. However, when he saw the audition tapes, he was convinced with the new approach, quote, she was sensational, and he said, it's gotta be her, end quote. The scene in which Daenerys has to eat a horse's heart was filmed in the Payne Hall studio in Belfast. There, the production built the Dothraki temple in which the scene is set, a large semicircular structure of wood and woven reeds, inspired by Marsh Arab constructions. The hard actress Emilia Clarke Aid was, according to Weiss, quote, basically a giant 3-pound gummy bear covered in fake sugar blood, which has the added attraction of drawing real flies. Ugh. The repeated takes, Clarke did have to eat much of the sugary heart. She said that tasted of bleach, and was made tough and gristly by the addition of vowels made from, quote, something like dried pasta. Clarke did not have to act in the shots at the end of the scene in which Daenerys almost throws up the last bit of heart, as she was indeed close to vomiting at that point. Yeah, I was close to vomiting too if I had to do anything like that. The Book of Lineages that helps Ned realize the truth about Joffrey's father was prepared by Brian Cogman, who, in addition to writing Episode 4, Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things, also served as the show's lore master, an author of the background content concerning the history of Westeros that is to be included in the first season's DVD and Blu-ray release. Cogman wrote 2 pages worth of text detailing the lineage of 4 noble houses. The text concerning House Umber was shown in Episode 4, and the Baratheon text appears in Episode 6. Cogman also wrote the text for the houses of Targaryen and Royce, but the corresponding scenes were removed from the script for Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things, but the Targaryen page was shown in A Golden Crown. Cogman said that he drew on the novels and the fan-created website Wiki of Ice and Fire for reference, and invented what could not be sourced, including even some internet fan message board names as in-jokes. So yeah, overall this is a pretty interesting episode, and hey, I like the fact that I finally got rid of Viserys. Oh, I hated that guy. So, overall, I give A Golden Crown 4 Iron Thrones out of 5. Well, join me next week as we learn the hard lesson of you win or you die. Dun dun dun. Anyway, so until then, in the words of House Stark, winter is coming.